Yes, exactly 3 minutes past 8. You're still watching Smart Means Business. I'm Andrew Bariji, and I'm here with Masi Katsime. We are driving your business through all the way. Well, at this point in time, I believe in inspiration here in Smart Means Business as a young and a vibrant entrepreneur and somebody that is aspiring for quite a very big, having a vision for an empire, business empire that is going to stand for ages with a test of time. Well, now let's get inspired, and we shall be returning to proceed with our discussions on export. Well, we learn by doing and falling over, not by following rules.
I actually like that fact, really. And of course, I was actually going to ask you if there was a moment that you broke the rules. You didn't play by the book, you broke the rules, and something actually caught up.
Yeah, wow. Very
I have done most of them. I've really risked and
okay, it may not be in terms of breaking the laws, but defying the odds of what nature says something. Of course, certain things I don't want to say them because somebody may try to do the same. No, we are all dressed in a different way.
No,
it depends on the revelation. Somebody, let me tell you something. It's more like, let's give you an example, like how somebody drops out of school and, they make it in life. And now another person hears their story and they decide to do the same. Because we've all been raised with the mentality that, hey, you need to study well, you need to get a first-class degree for you to have a beautiful future. But it's not the case. The real world shows us something different. That people with those qualifications actually are struggling in actual life, and people that didn't have those qualifications didn't struggle. But the thing is, if you're doing what you do, the reason that's why we do all the same, we do the same things and we get different results is simply because of what is the revelation we do. Some people are just copycats. Let me tell you, if you have a revelation of what you're doing, regardless of the results you have now, you'll keep holding on. And if you don't have, and you're just a copy and paste, that means once things don't go the way you had anticipated, chances are high that you're gonna give up easily because you don't know why you're doing it. The other person had a conviction, and conviction has nothing to do with what is happening to you right now. If I have a conviction that I'm gonna make $1 billion, I don't care, even if today I'm sleeping outside, but I have a conviction. So you're seeing what I'm doing, and later you make it in life, and you try to imitate my very steps, and you don't make it in life, and you get frustrated. Why? So that's what, so breaking the odds is okay. Do it, but make sure you have a conviction and you have a cause. Yesterday we had a discussion and somebody said, what are you hungry about? What are you hungry about?
By now, I think hunger drives us.
Hunger drives you.
Right. drives us most of the time.
Yeah.
The fact that you wake up in the morning and you have zero on your account, really. I think that is what drives you, like, oh, at the end of today, I have to make sure I get 50K. I have to make sure I get something at least that I have to take home, and you know, I feel like I have something on my own. I feel like if our pockets, okay, it's not good for our pockets to be empty, but then I feel like for some people, this is what drives them to work hard.
Some people that drives them.
For those that have grown in grace, abundance, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
They have grown in grace too.
Abundance.
They have grown in abundance, like.
Yes, abundance where things are available.
Available, okay.
Yeah, but the fact that you look back at your background, way back, you know, they said, what is it? There's this meme that goes around about by the age of 30, something about background stops with you.
Oh, yeah. You're the background. I've seen it. By the time you make 30, these aspects of, my family background is the reason why I'm here. Ends there. You are now the
You're
background.
the background now. So definitely that is what it is. That is what it is. So I feel like that is what has driven most people to where they are now. Those billionaires that you hear about. So most of them, if you to hear their background, you realize they had something that pushed them to, it's bad to go back to that place, man. It's very bad. If you've been there, you don't want to go back. It's full of filth, and you don't want to go back. So you are actually you're like, you know what, I have to work so that I don't go back. I don't want my kids to do that. I don't want my kids to go and face that kind of life I did. So I feel like that is what is supposed to motivate us every morning. You want what is best for the future. Yeah. If you're in a generation where we have, if you got your smartphone in vacation or Form 6 or campus first year, that shouldn't be the case for your kids. They should get them in P7 or a kindergarten. Yeah. So we have a better future.
There is a saying which says, when you say that kids having smartphones by P7.
Okay, that could have been a really one example.
There is a saying, it's fine. There is a saying that tough times create tough people. I mean, excellent people, rich people, tough times. And now rich people create easy times. And now the easy times create weak people. And the weak people get back to the tough times. And those stuff. So it's a cycle of all aspects in life. I love. There is a family in UK. It's called the Rothschild dynasty. Have you heard about them? You've heard about them. Rothschild. They are banking. They're into banking, like the way you see the Morgans in America, and all that. But you see, if you take a look at this, the founder. Of course, there are many names. Each person had Rothschild. I can't recall some. But the original founder from Frankfurt, somebody who started from scratch. Of course, they were Jews, and being Jews in Germany, they weren't entitled to own property. So what they did, the founder started by establishing, having what they call textile. And he realized that for some time, textile wasn't profiting. He now ended up trading gold, and one of his major customers was Prince William, who was in England that way. But what I'm trying to say is that they later on, of course, they made money. They established their first bank in Frankfurt. That was in Germany. But later on, this gentleman had sons, and the way he was raising them, he didn't raise them from this perspective, hey, I've made the money and all, because even when you reach to disperse them all over Europe to establish the Rothschild banks, branches all over, each person, he could give you like £20,000. He's not giving you upkeep, he's telling you, I'm sending you to Scotland, start a bank. I'm sending you to Vienna, establish a branch. I mean, the way he raised them up, and it explains why we still have the Rothschild dynasty still standing up to today that way. Anyway, it's quite a lot. If I start to talk about Rothschild dynasty, I can speak endlessly, because you'll be surprised that even part of the world wars that happened, most especially World War II. No, World War I. There was a fight. Those are the banks that gained from that. funding was and all that. But anyway, the bigger picture in here is that as we are raising these young generations, let's not all just put them into this life, which might end up creating. We build empires, but they may not see the fourth generation, ending on the third generation. That is quite key. And then we had something to do with understanding your customers, your market, before you do something. Many times we do things, but somebody will ask you, okay, you're doing this, but who is the consumer of what you're making?
Yeah, it's really key, important.
It's a key question. Who's consuming?
Actually, it is one of the things, if you to start out a business, you should actually do research about. Do research about your customers, what they really consume. Okay, you may not favor every customer because every person has their own specifics, but then go out and make a survey. If 9 out of 10 agree, then do that. You know, if 5 or 2 out of the 10 do not, then favor the 8.
Favor the 8. Yeah.
So customers actually our funders actually. Yeah. So definitely they are key priority. Everything you do, you think of a customer. You think of a customer. You think of a customer. What do they need actually? Because at the end of the day, the customer has a voice. They'll come and tell you, you know what, yesterday what you gave to me was not, I didn't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to work according to their terms at the end of the day. Not entirely their terms, but then if what you did, if they're actually really honest enough, because I believe a customer that has stood with, a loyal customer will actually tell you if where you go wrong. Yeah? Instead of those that come a one-time thing and they disappear once the thing is not really, because you won't be perfect all the way. So please make sure that it's end of year, really, and just hoping people would actually do have a thing for their customers, maybe like a party, like a community thing, you know, to motivate their customers. But first of all, you have to know your customers, what their customer needs, their needs, so that you create a good relationship between yourself as a business person, and not only business, but also companies.
Companies.
Yes.
Okay, very
Even
beautiful.
If it's schools, the students are your customers.
Yeah, you need to tailor what you produce to their expectations. And
I have really had countless events in schools, mostly when it comes to graduation. Some universities where students have to pay more than, you know, you go and you know you're zero balance, and when it comes to graduation, you find yourself having a balance. Like, how did this come to this? And because you're desperate, you have to pay.
You have to pay, absolutely.
There are unfair policies in universities, and actually they had put them in papers. Unfair, the coursework, people pay to have coursework marks. Yeah? So it's unfair. If you do not have cash, trust me, you can't survive.
You can't survive
in Uganda.
Rightly said by Masaka Tsime right there, and we are definitely still discussing these matters here. Whenever you do something, make sure that you have somebody that is going to consume it. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And so we're heading back to our discussion on exports. And now, let's first break down something here. Those top 10 exports that Uganda has seen here as of 2023. Of course, coffee, which brings in about $1.2 billion annually. Gold, $980 million. Of course, we discussed about this, and I told you the scandals that are, you mentioned the scandals that are associated with that. We have refined petroleum. This one brings in $320 million. Fish fillets and preparations, $290 million. Then raw sugar brings in about $260 million US, and of course coming in down to tea, which brings in $180 million. Vegetables, $160 million. Flowers, $150 million. Cocoa beans, and so many. Even hides and skins actually is quite a key export for Uganda. Now, Uganda's export earnings are expected to reach $6.5 billion next year. And Uganda's main export markets definitely still in the European Union, the United States and China. And of course, despite the few issues we have with the European, and that is the United States, over the AGOA, because AGOA is mainly for African nations to have an opportunity to export in the United States of America. So, and I don't know how, by the way, that has, as we speak right now, I don't care what discussions we have about exports today, but not until that matter is dealt a little bit,
US,
because if we are not part of it, so that means we might have to do a lot to be able to put our product in the United States of America market.
We could have alternatives. China, we could also do export to China. I mean, there are very many alternatives, really. At the end of the day, actually,
okay, you may export to China, but how much is China going to give you for your exports? Vis-a-vis what America is going to give you for your exports. Those are also key aspects too. Okay, I know we talk about diversification. It's more like
for the meantime, we could do that. For the meantime, we could do that as they handle their issues. As we find means of getting back on the same page.
Okay.
But for now, there are other sources. Because we are rich, actually. Africa, Uganda is rich. Yesterday we were discussing and someone said, do you think if
Africa
was the US or the China of those days, okay, the colonizers.
If Africa, would Africa colonize if it was the superpower?
Yes. Do you think Africa would colonize if it was a superpower?
Yeah, I definitely think it would, because we need labor to exploit the resources that you have.
Actually...
because if you're a superpower, you don't like your people to be under slavery. So they would be the slaves.
It wouldn't be like
slavery.
It wouldn't be like slavery, because everyone at the end of the day would have enough.
It would be labor.
Okay, it would be labor.
They would give us labor. They would dig. They would be the one to dig, mine, and we are the bosses, and we are the one telling them, hey, load this to this truck.
Oh my goodness.
Because actually, we have it all, they have nothing.
I'm trying to take a picture of us being a superpower and a black... Oh my God. I think I would love to see that in my other life. Africa being a colonizer. But I don't think, maybe for labor, the rest... I think we have in Africa.
Because
the rest we have.
We have the
in
minerals.
plenty. We have in excess.
We have everything.
We have in excess. We have in excess. We have in excess.
And Democratic Republic of Congo is the richest nation worldwide.
And it's so funny how its economy is doing so poorly.
No, that is like, that's why yesterday we had a discussion that it was relating to foreign intervention vis-a-vis Africa's growth. Most especially when it comes to cultivating entrepreneurship culture that way. Well, away from that, still taking a look at Uganda's export, there is something that, despite Uganda's remarkable growth in the export earnings, a shadow looms over, of course, aspects in here. Now, the country's booming export sector has been accompanied with a troubling trend. Now, this is including the exploitation of farmers and the degradation of the environment, exploitation of farmers. We are talking about export market, but there is exploitation of farmers.
Well, definitely, it is really
and these are people that are exploited by the big player, the dominant players, the monopoly people. Like we mentioned something that how many people in Uganda actually participate in export trade? And I'm talking about exporting to earning some quite huge amounts of money. Now, these are the people that actually go and exploit these farmers.
Yeah, they actually do. Actually, that is a good point, because at the end of the day, they are going to find a way of manipulating these farmers, and then they buy, and then for them, they profit more.
They profit more.
They profit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Uganda's export growth has largely been driven by expansion of large-scale agricultural plantations, and particularly for coffee, tea, and flowers. Now, these plantations have been praised for their contribution to the Uganda's economy, but there has also been criticized for their negative impact on local communities and the environment. Of course, relating it back to the exploitation of the people. And their pay is not really interesting. Now,
because I was actually wondering, if I to look at the amount, I've stayed, in those rural areas, and of course, you can imagine a farmer. They're not even farmers. These are people that do come and help out in the garden, once in a while. You see, their pay is not you can actually, do you know what confuses me in Uganda is the fact that someone is going to have their garden, yeah, but then they're going to opt to digging for Andrew.
Why? I'm trying to ask myself why.
Why? I also do not know. Because at the end of the day, they're looking for what to eat.
Oh, I have a garden, but I'm working for somebody else.
Yes.
So it's more like I'm selling chips, but I'm eating beans.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah. And of course, you know, in a day I pay 10,000, yet you have a plantation of matoke, which you can actually take time. The time that you could have, the time that you take...
You spend someone else's.
Yes, you could actually improve on you. That is what...
Maybe that
when
person
you
is
go
giving
to
you...
areas, you feel disappointed, you're like, wow, what is happening?
Probably that person is giving you some money.
They are giving you the money, yes? How, 5,000, 10,000, really?
If you spend that on
is
your
that
plantation...
how low we are going for 5,000?
This person is exporting.
And you dig a whole acre at 10,000.
Who digs an acre for 10,000? Do people do it?
People do. May have been to rural areas. People do that.
Okay.
People do that. That is why I'm saying that kind of exploitation. Someone has a whole chunk of coffee and you're there, you know, just picking, weeding and doing all that at 10,000.
Okay.
Yes, you could actually incorporate this. You have
the same skill and incorporate it to develop your own farm.
I do not know why they do not. I believe we have a long way to go actually, because even someone actually mentioned if at all everyone had 10 trees of coffee in their garden, yeah, that would be at least beneficial. Because if you know, do you know how much a cup of coffee is, raw coffee?
How much does it go for?
Sometimes it goes to 500 shillings.
500 shillings?
Yes, 300 shillings, depending on how the seasons are. 300 shillings. So just imagine you have your 10 trees. And you get, I don't know, like a sack. Do you know you could get money?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, so definitely.
That's if you focus your attention on your own farm.
Yes, if you focus on that's the only thing that is failing Ugandans. Yeah, you have your matoke, but you're going to dig for the neighbor. Focus on your portion, let them focus on their portion. Okay. Because at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be beneficial for anyone.
At the end of the day.
That is what bothers me. That is what bothers me. And then the cases of exploitation. We need ourselves to be exploited because we feel like what we have is not enough. We need to go and acquire more sources. Yeah. More sources.
Very, very largely said here. Now, we are taking a look at the transformative links. What are those missing links that we need to sort out if we are to have a stable, of course, export industry? Now, we are here breaking down the aspect of exploitation of farmers. Farmers who leave their gardens to go and work for other people at a lower price. 10,000 digging an acre, yet you can actually do that. Why? Because this person is putting you in pressure. He's exporting large, so he needs labor. And he's actually depriving you of your freedom of being able to develop your own side. So you find that even when we export, the incomes are not evenly distributed from that. Now, farm exploitation. Now, large-scale agricultural plantations often employ low-wage workers, and many of whom are migrant laborers. And now these workers often face poor working conditions. This is key. Low wages and limited access to basic amenities. Now, they may also be subjected to actually hazardous working environments and exposure to pesticides. Because majority are not even protected when they're using these pesticides. You're working on a large farm, somebody doesn't have the equipment to give to you. So do you realize in the name of export, people are dying of cancer? All right, it's 3 minutes to 8:30. We're going to take a break. These discussions, we shall definitely proceed with them at exactly at the top of the hour. That is of 9 a.m. For now, let's take a break. And business, entertainment, and sports is coming up shortly.